Welcome to our Channing Memorial Church web service. I'm happy that you are joining us, whether it's on Sunday or some other day during the week, and I hope you find meaning in today's message. Actually, I invite you now to pause this video to get a candle to light as your chalice flame in your house as we light our chalice here. The chalice lighting words for today are adapted from a reflection by Rod Richards. As we light our chalice, we pause to consider the vast spectrum of experience and often complicated feelings that surround a father-child relationship. We honor those fathers and father figures in our lives who have loved, supported, encouraged, and instructed us. We light the chalice today and pause to mourn the loss of a father, whether separated by death or estrangement. As we light the chalice today, we send thoughts of support to fathers in our midst who give of themselves to their children, and those men who choose not to have children, yet who are present in loving and supportive ways to children and youth as teachers, mentors, and role models. We light this chalice to honor Father's Day. Let's settle in now for a couple of minutes to listen to Janet Grant, the music director at Channing Memorial Church, play Papillon by Edvard Grieg to set the stage for our service. A story by the Reverend Jane Ellen Malden. I'm frequently astonished by monarch butterflies. Delicate beyond belief, they fly thousands of miles each year from all parts of the continent to settle in the forests of South America. Their migratory route takes them along a bridge near my house. A few days ago, I was driving on this bridge during their annual display of fragility and strength. As my car whipped by at over 60 miles an hour, the tiny creatures were tossed haphazardly by the wind. Yet I knew that there was continual southward purpose to their struggle. Unfortunately, I could not avoid hitting several of them. While orange wings smashed into my windshield, I remember a chilling science fiction story I had read. A man in the near future travels back in time to the age of the dinosaurs for a sightseeing expedition. Despite the tour guide's warning, he leaves the path in his excitement and, while in the underbrush, steps on and kills one of the fragile butterflies. When he returns to his world at his time, it is much different. It has become a place of cruelty and totalitarian governments. The death of one butterfly that was somehow involved in evolutionary change in the distant past changed all of the world's history. As I traveled the many miles of the bridge during this annual monarch butterfly migration, I wondered if I am wrecking any changes in the world to come. What effects do my deeds and words, both on the bridge and off, make in the environment and the human world? Surely they do make a difference. Our kindness affects lives we will never see. Our cruelty casts ripples that may drown strangers. Whether smashing butterflies or helping a friend, our actions will echo through history. We will not always know the ramifications of our deeds, but they will be there. We are surely connected one to another, each of us to the greater world. Last week, in an article I was reading about how the average person can help in the new civil rights struggles, the author suggests that we can do something in our daily lives that support Blacks and people of color. He mentioned supporting a local Black-owned small business by buying something. And he wrote that while we want to see changes in how Black people are treated by society, small changes, small things do matter. He also got me thinking about how something small can help make life better, not only in racial matters, but with the world in general. In a society that values big over small, most people tend to think about the big actions or big inventions and how they change the world, like the development of the first mechanism to generate electricity that ultimately led to lighting the whole world, the discovery of the polio vaccine, the development of the desktop computer, email, establishing the United Nations, things like that. These huge inventions and activities were and are very important. And we look forward to the next great invention or action that will change our lives. But it is the little things in personal and professional relationships that are the foundation of the big earth-changing events. So how is it that such apparently inconsequential things seem to have a positive impact on the emotional and physical and psychological well-being of people, and thus the functioning of business and industry and science? We can posit that small things keep people emotionally and psychologically fed. Positive and negative attitudes translate into there being good or bad people-to-people connections, and ultimately unsuccessful or successful endeavors. Things like shoveling the sidewalk of a neighbor, looking your child in the eye when you say goodnight, saying good morning sincerely to the coworkers when you enter the work area, meeting deadlines, following up on actions promised to be done, sending a birthday note, and cleaning the workspace, or as my father did one night, cut and nail a few small pieces of wood into a tugboat that I could play with in the bathtub. I remember how happy I was with that simple toy, and how, as I look at it now sitting in my memento display case, it continues to bring me joy as it connects me with my deceased father. It's like these things can make an effect in a person's attitude and give them mental and emotional energy to set the stage for professional and personal relationships. Ask someone to remember a favorite relative by describing a memory that vividly comes to mind, and I would bet that most often these memories are of something that the person would think to be insignificant, like the help with the project, kind supportive words given in a difficult time. The home-baked treats always available in their kitchen. Small, but deeply meaningful to us. The reality is that the small, mundane actions are what we remember in the long run. It is the small things that grease the wheels of a relationship. In the business world, it's the small things that keep an organization running. Like the clean test tube in a laboratory that ensures the test will not be fouled. The report turned in on time that ensures the project is completed as scheduled. The screw tightened properly that ensures the machine will continue to work. And it is the same in our personal behaviors. The small things ultimately make or break our relationships and functioning in the world. Josiah Dryhart, in one of his novels, The Unknown Soldier, has a character say what is really a major truism. People are always reaching for these big things, big ideas, big moments, big lives. And all the while, the little things we're ignoring are undoing us. It is really the little things that can make us or undo us. Miss the publication submission deadline, even by a day, several times, and a person becomes known as not reliable. Not saying hello walking into an office, and a person becomes known as grumpy. And what is really interesting to contemplate is that we may never know how our small actions may translate into more productive or heightened self-esteem that gets the creative wheels turning that brings about that big change. On the other hand, we may never know how a single unkind word or vicious critique will deflate a person and prevent him or her from moving on into ultimately making a world-changing invention. The reason that little things matter is that, as Jane Malden notes in her reflection, we are connected one to another and each of us to the greater world. Our individual small actions, helping a person that enables them to get something accomplished, smiling at a person that makes them happier, paying singular attention to a child that makes them feel special, all have major impact on ours and other people's lives. There was a television commercial, I think it was by an insurance company, where a man sitting in a bus sees a woman doing a little thing like stopping to help a person pick up papers that fell out of their briefcase. And then he, in turn, takes a moment to help another person cross the street. And a woman who sees that man helping this other individual, in turn, helps a third. We cannot ever know the ramifications of our smallest actions. But we can rest assured that they are there and they are just as important in the flow of life as any big action or event. Now, knowing that all of our actions, no matter how big or small, can have a ramification long into the future is a scary thing to think about. One moment in our lives can make a difference for good or bad. It almost makes a person want to just stay in bed and do nothing. But of course we can't do that. And I guess even staying in bed could have long-term consequences for the world. It would seem to me then that it should be our life goal to minimize negative actions that most certainly will expand into more negative actions, and be intentional about putting more care and love into the universe. We should err on the side of doing something good when we have the opportunity. And who knows, but the butterfly effect of our actions today may save the world from being an awful place in the future. So be it. I invite you now to settle back, relax, and join with me in a brief meditation. Spirit of life, we know that doing good always seems like a good idea, but sometimes when we put our best into a situation or work our hardest, it seems it yields no good results. We get criticized, or our endeavors end in failure. Sometimes I guess we are tempted to give up and become as self-centered or callous as we see many of those around us be. But then we remember that all acts have long-term consequences, consequences we may not know now, and that we have the responsibility to put such good into the universe as we can to make creation a better place for all. Spirit of life and compassion, may we always be able to find the strength to keep pursuing the good, championing the kind, giving care and support, and showing love, because in the end, even a small act of good toward another is important, for it is those small, seemingly insignificant things that really make the world function. So be it. Amen. A hymn now about compassion and justice. Spirit of Life, played by Janet Grant. We're coming to the end of our service, but first I would like to make a few announcements. Next Sunday, there will be no YouTube or Facebook service. Everyone is invited to participate in the Unitarian Universalist General Assembly's Sunday worship service that's online. There's no registration fee to participate in the service. Go to uua.org/GA to get more information. The Sunday chiming concerts will continue through the summer at 10 o'clock in the morning. There's plenty of room in Tura Park to come to hear the bell concert and see other Unitarian Universalists while maintaining proper social distancing. So bring your coffee and breakfast roll, enjoy the chiming, in the company of other chanting members. I hope that you will take some time to look at the July-August issue of the Catalyst for information about our summer services and the preliminary plans that are being made for services in the fall. And finally, if you perhaps have fallen behind in your pledge contributions, or you have not pledged but in the past placed a financial gift in the collection basket on Sundays, I ask you to consider catching up on your pledge payment or making a gift to the church so it can be recorded for this fiscal year. The closing words for today are by the Reverend Curt Copeland. May the blessing of life be yours. May the blessing of love be yours. May the blessing of justice be yours. May the blessing of peace be yours, all to receive and to give to the larger world. So be it. Amen.